What is up, everybody? Matt with Backwoods, Alabama here. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do because we're going catfishing today. And actually going to do a catfish catch and cook for y'all. A lot of people do these on the internet, and a lot of fishermen catch the fish, show you how to catch it, show you how they cook it, all that good stuff, and how to prepare it. So that's what I'm going to do today. So right here, I was actually going to insert a little clip of the bait that I make and how to make it, but I decided just to make an entire different video on that. So y'all look for that coming soon.
So let's go ahead and get set up. Let's do it. All right. The way that you want to hook these is pretty simple. Just grab me a piece. Can't be squeamish. This stuff stinks, but it gets everywhere. You want to hook through a meaty part of it, but you also don't want to hook too much. Kind of like that. Okay? It's about a bite-sized piece for a decent catfish. Here we go. And make sure that you leave plenty of hook point. All this right here is open. If there's any danglies, make sure you're not leaving too much dangling. And if there is, just go ahead and you wrap it around the hook or hook it and do whatever you need to do. But make sure there's plenty of hook point right there exposed. Let's get the rest of them set up.
So these bottle arms that I have are actually just some clothesline clips with some craft bells hot glued to them. And they work really, really well. They're definitely not the most sensitive or the highest tech out there, obviously, but they definitely get the job done.
So while I'm waiting for my catfish rods to go off, might as well do some bluegill fishing. I've got right here my little dock demon. It's like 10 bucks at Walmart. Beautiful little rod reel. Got a very small, I believe it's a number 12 hook. I got a little piece of Slim Jim. And bluegill, little panfish, love Slim Jim. So, if y'all are trying to catch bait fish for, well, either for bait or for fun, just use this. You got your bobber and some line, hook and some Slim Jim. No weight, nothing. Oh, there we go, 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 there we go. Fish on, fish on. That's it. It's a fish. Oh, yes. Oh, nice. It's a decent one. He's just spinning. He's decent. He's not bad. Little chanell cat. All right. He's pretty small, actually. I thought he was bigger than he was. Oh, he's all tangled up in line. That's great. Let's get this off first. All right, buddy. Don't spine me. There you go. Tie yourself out. Alright, buddy. I'm going to put that down. There we go. Okay.
So this guy was pretty wrapped up in this line. I'm using a high-low rig here, and he's got one hook in his mouth. The other hook is kind of wrapped around his tail and in his back a little bit. The line all the way from the hook that's in his mouth down to almost to my weight was kind of just wrapped around his body, and it made it pretty difficult to get this guy loose. And I ended up having to retie because a lot of my line was frayed and whatnot. But this guy was barely hooked, just kind of wedged in the corner of his mouth there. Made the hook easy to get out, and I'm just kind of trying to unwind the line from this guy's body.
Ah, that's a hook in my finger. Man, he's all kinds of tangled up in here. There we go. All right. Nice little catfish. Decent eating size. Well, you know what? We'll keep them. We'll keep them. Man, I got myself on that hook. I dropped him there. All right. Come on, fishies. I'm gonna go check my lines. I'm gonna leave my phone here. Sorry, y'all. I don't really want to get it wet. All right, hang tight. I'll be right back.
Alright, so this is where the fishing part of the video is going to end. The storm kind of came crashing in on us. As y'all can see, this lightning is insane. The rain picked up a good bit and then was kind of on and off for a while, but this lightning was just, I mean, look at it. It's crazy. So I didn't really want to be on the lake with the lightning like that, and I was ready to go. So we ended up calling it a night here, and the next part of the video is going to be cleaning the fish. So if you are squeamish and don't like guts or whatever, do not watch the next part of this video. Alright, y'all, so we're back at the house, in the kitchen, getting ready to clean this fish. And I will tell y'all what I'm using, what I'm doing, all that good stuff, as I'm kind of going through it. Honestly, this is my first time cleaning a catfish by myself. Normally I have somebody helping me or somebody else will do it for me. One of my buddies that I'm fishing with. So this is my first time, and I think it went pretty well. So what I have here is I have this board. It's like a 1x6, and I have a large 8-inch nail that I stuck in the end of it. And I saw a lot of people using something like this, and what they'll do is they'll put the catfish head on this nail or this spike, and it'll help stabilize the fish as they're cleaning and all that. What I found was the catfish's head is really, really hard. I was pushing down really hard on it. I was using the knife to kind of like a hammer. I was using the knife like a hammer, trying to get this thing on there, trying to find a soft spot or a weak spot. And its skull is just so strong, y'all. It's kind of ridiculous. Maybe this works with larger catfish better. You know, my guy's pretty small. And you can see my wife in the background kind of running back and forth from the bedroom. Didn't want to see all the guts. But basically, I would not recommend using this if you don't have a larger catfish, or if you're not familiar with how to use it. I did just fine without it. I still use the board. It's kind of like a cutting board that you don't really have to worry about, getting too dirty or what have you. So basically, just if you're not comfortable with using the nail, or you don't want to, whatever the case is, just use a board or a cutting board, and we'll go from there. Alright, so as with any processing of any animal, you want to make sure you have a really sharp knife. What you do with a catfish is you go right behind the gill plate. There's a soft spot, you can tell, and you make a few slices, and this is so that you can skin the catfish. And the catfish skin's pretty tough, but this sharp knife really comes in handy here. So what you're going to do is you're going to make an incision kind of behind the gills and near this this gill plate where the soft spot meets the hard part, and you'll feel it. It's really easy to feel. Alright, then you're going to take your knife and just cut the skin. You really don't want to go too deep in the meat. You're going to cut along the top of the catfish, so like the back, all the way down to the tail. Okay? And then you're going to do the same thing on the bottom, as you can see right here. So you're kind of outlining where the meat is on this catfish. And this is so that you can take your pliers and pull the skin off in one fell swoop. And it's really easy, actually. If you can, again, just make sure you have a sharp knife and you just cut the skin. And you can see here there's kind of like a rectangle that you cut around. And you just do the same exact thing on the other side. Just be careful not to go too deep when you're making that initial cut. I think on this other side I went a little bit too deep, and I think I punctured some of the internal organs. Which really isn't a huge deal, but it's just extra mess that you have to worry about. And if you do this properly, you won't have to worry about any of the internal organs or anything like that. So again, what we're just doing is the same exact thing we did on the first side, we're doing on this side. If it's easier for you to use those upward strokes with your knife, you know, by all means go ahead and do that. But again, a really sharp knife makes a world of difference here. And yeah, so we're just cutting along just like so. And then what you do is you grab your pliers. These are skinning pliers. You can get them at really anywhere. Walmart has them. You just grab the end of this skin, this rectangle that we've cut out. You just grab it and you peel it right off, just like that. And that is one side of the catfish completely skinned. Now that little bit of silver on there that you see is a little bit of connective tissue and all that. You can cut that off later. Honestly, I didn't, and it tasted just fine. It really wasn't tough or anything like that. And if it, you know, slips and you have to start over again, you can just go ahead and grab another piece and go at it. So what you're seeing here is me trying to get the skin off of the belly of the fish, and that's because I was going to get the belly fillet. And what I did here, well, don't do this, don't cut all the way around, because it makes it really difficult to get a good grip with those pliers, and it's just a lot of hassle. So yeah, don't do that. Don't cut all the way around the head of the fish. You can kind of see here, I'm just at this point just kind of grasping at nothing. But most of the skin is off of this catfish. So these side fillets are ready to get taken off. So you're gonna make a cut right here at the top of the fillet and just follow the spine all the way down. Let your knife do the work. Don't push too hard. Again, sharp knife really comes in handy. And with these small fish, sometimes it's a little difficult to get one large section of meat off because they are so small and there's not a ton to work with. But hold your knife flat against the backbone and the rib cage of the fish and just follow it all the way down. And you can see here we've got one nice piece of meat, and then I go with my knife from the middle section there all the way down to the tail, and you've got yourself another nice little piece of meat, a little fillet of catfish. And if you miss a spot, it's no big deal. You can go back with your knife and get it later. It doesn't have to be a pretty fillet. It doesn't taste any better if it looks good or not. And then again, you just do the same thing on the other side, the same exact thing. Take your knife and follow the fillet down. And again, it's kind of difficult sometimes with a smaller fish, but you can still do it. Just take your time and try to get as much meat as you can. I really hate killing an animal and wasting meat. That really is not something that I enjoy doing at all. So definitely try to get all that you can off of this fish, or any animal for that matter. Now, a lot of people don't do anything else after this. They think that once you get these fillets off the sides, that you're done and there's nothing else to get. But that's not the case. And again, that's where people waste food. So with the smaller fish, There's not much here, but this stomach fillet is really good. And actually, you can see here what I should have done in the first place was clip these fins. That's what I didn't do. You don't have to do this, but I kept kind of hitting myself on them. And so if you clip them, you don't have to worry about them anymore. And again, should have done that first, but it's okay. We live and learn. So what I'm doing now is just taking the knife, working around the fins and bones here, and getting a little cut of meat from the belly. And with a bigger catfish, you know, obviously there's going to be more there. These small fish, it's almost not worth it, but again, I don't like wasting anything. And then you can just kind of cut around if there's some fin on there still, or some skin, or whatever the case is, just kind of cut around it. But you still get a little bit more meat. Another thing that people often do is just leave way too much meat on this carcass. So you can see here I take just a regular tablespoon and I scrape the rib cage all along of this fish. And you just scrape until your spoon's full. And honestly, you can get probably, depending on, you know, how experienced you are with filleting a fish, you can get 4 or 5 spoonfuls of meat that way. And the recipe that I'm going to show y'all, you know, this method of taking the meat off is actually really useful, and it works out. So again, both sides, take your spoon and just scrape it along the rib cage. Catfish have pretty strong bones. They're not really like a typical fish that, you know, you think of these tiny little bones that get stuck and in the meat and all that. But as you can see, this is, I think, my 3rd or 4th spoonful, so you don't have to worry about the bones cracking and getting into the meat. Just get as much use of this animal as you can. And yeah, you can see when you're done, there really isn't much left on there to eat. I mean, you can see through the rib cage and backbone there. And even still, you know, if you want to really get nitpicky with it, you know, keep going over that with a spoon. When you think you're done, you might have a couple more spoonfuls. So definitely give that a try. A lot of people don't do that. I think it's too much work for not enough meat, but you know, you just harvested that animal and brought it to your house and killed it for your family to eat. So in my opinion, you should definitely use every bit of meat that you can get off this animal. When you're all done, hopefully you have a bowl that looks like this. You know, that one fish, it was a pretty small fish, but it gave us a lot of meat. And this is going to be able to feed my wife and I for, you know, a meal. This is a meal for us from that one little fish that a lot of people would have just left most of that stuff on there. Again, this is why I say use as much as you can, because it's just more food that you get. Yeah, so cleanup, kind of a pain, but it's definitely necessary. Just take your time. Again, use a lot of Clorox, you know, bleach. I use some of these peroxide wipes. they work really well. Um, so yeah, just y'all stay tuned for a little bit. We're gonna get cleaned up and show you one of my favorite catfish recipes. So y'all stay tuned. Alright, y'all. So we are at the last part of our catfish catch and cook, and that's the cooking. I'm gonna show you a really simple recipe that is absolutely delicious. I learned this recipe from Luke from Catfish and Carp. Watching his videos, he makes this quite a bit, and I thought that I would try it out. So it's pretty simple. What you're doing is you preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and you lay your catfish out on a tray. Go ahead and put it in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350. While we're waiting for that, we're going to make our tartar sauce. So tartar sauce is just relish and mayo mixed together, and then we take about half of a fresh lemon, and we do some lemon juice. We put half a lemon juice in there, and basically this just makes a really delicious, simple tartar sauce. We also put some Old Bay seasoning in there, and this is the lemon and herb Old Bay. Really, actually, very, very delicious, very good. So you just mix it all together, give it a taste, and if it needs something, you just add it in. You know, just kind of eyeball it, nothing too specific. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now while we're waiting for our fish to cook, kind of prepping everything else. So what you're gonna need is for the catfish recipe, you're gonna need about half an onion, depending on how much catfish you have. So for about a pound of catfish, you want about a half an onion. You're gonna need some mayo, you're gonna need some mustard, some Old Bay seasoning, and you're gonna need a packet of Ritz crackers. Now, this recipe isn't exact, like I said, so you can kind of add or subtract things as you want. So when your fish is done cooking, after about 15 minutes, just go ahead and take it out. You want to let it cool before you mix everything up. What we're making is a catfish cake, and it's really just like a crab cake. They're just really delicious, golden brown. You fry them up, and they're great. But you have to mix everything together first, and doing that with hot catfish is not a good time. So go ahead and let that cool. Make sure you got all your ingredients together, and then when you're ready to mix everything together, you can start the next step. Alright, so you've given your catfish some time to cool. What you're going to do now is put all your catfish into a large mixing bowl, and go ahead and just kind of mash it up and make it really fine. Again, those shavings from the ribs there are really good for this, so you don't have to mash them up too much. But it's pretty easy. Just kind of use a fork and make them nice and fine like that. You're gonna add your Ritz crackers. So I would start with about half the pack and see what kind of consistency you get. You don't want anything too thick, and obviously you don't want it too thin. And you have a lot of wet ingredients. Okay, so go ahead and add your onions in. You add a little bit of mustard, and it's more for flavor than anything. You can kind of eyeball that. Mayo is kind of about the same, maybe a tablespoon and a half of mayonnaise. And for this recipe, use 1 egg. If you have more catfish, you can use 2 or more eggs, well, however many eggs you need. And add your Old Bay seasoning, mix everything together. And it was feeling a little bit runny to me, so I went and added some more cracker. And I ended up using almost the entire pack of Ritz crackers. And you want it to where you can kind of roll it up into a ball, just like this. And that really makes it nice and easy to pop in the fryer. Alright, here comes the fun part. It's time to fry these guys up. Get you a pot, fill it about an inch and a half with oil. I did about up to the first knuckle on my pinky. Worked out, and just go ahead and heat that up. You want to get it nice and hot so that when you drop these guys in, they cook really well and get a nice golden brown. I got some Kaiser rolls, from Publix. I'm cutting them up right now, and I'm gonna toast them on the in the frying pan next to my catfish, and get them nice and buttery and toasted. Very very good. You can test your batter and your oil by taking just a small piece of batter and putting it in the oil. It'll tell you if you need to add anything to your batter as far as if the consistency is right, and also it'll help you determine if your oil is hot enough. You really want it to start sizzling pretty quickly when you put it in there, and having something to kind of move these catfish cakes around while they're in the fryer is really important too. You don't want to get yourself burned or anything, so just use one of these scoopers and use that to get them around. Alright, so once your oil's hot enough, you can use a tablespoon or you can just use your hands and kind of make a ball with your catfish batter and drop them in there. You can see our oil's nice and hot. We're sizzling real good, and these things take about 3 or 4 minutes on each side. They're not completely submerged in the oil, so just go ahead, about 3 minutes. You can give them a little flip, and maybe just a couple minutes on the other side after you flip them. And yeah, it's pretty simple, y'all. You just throw them in the hot oil, and you wait for them to cook. While you're doing that, you can get your buns toasted, and man, this is just incredible. These catfish cake po' boys are to die for, truly. And yeah, so this is about the last step. After this comes the eating. So y'all stay tuned, and we'll get to eating these things. Alright, so when you're getting ready to eat these guys, it's pretty simple. You can do whatever you want, but this is my suggestion. Get some tartar sauce on your bottom bun, your tomato, onion, and lettuce. Get you a catfish nugget, catfish cake there on the top. Put a little bit more tartar sauce on top there. You can smush it all down. And man, this sandwich is so good. It really is delicious, and it's so fresh. It's awesome. I definitely suggest that you try it, and let me know how it goes. If y'all try it and you like it, leave a comment. Let me know. I always like trying new recipes, and this one was definitely worth it. All right, y'all. So I know that this video has gone on for a long time, and I appreciate y'all sticking with me. But this is my catfish catch and cook. I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Leave me a comment if you have any questions or concerns or just want to talk, whatever. But I really appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next time on Backwoods, Alabama.